All right, so Brian Kelly, man, you could see it real quick in yesterday's little post-practice presser that it was this defensive back room it's in a bind. This is 10, Stewie. Let's get right to it. As Kelly yesterday addressed the situation with the DBs and just where LSU is right now in practice week.
And as y'all try to figure out exactly what cornerback's going to look like for the Bama game and then moving forward, of course, as well, just what kind of progress are you seeing in terms of the whole secondary playing the ball in the air and getting better in that regard?
Well, I mean, I don't know what our interceptions were leading in the secondary, but we had, 3 interceptions in the back end of our defense. We got 2 or 3 PBUs. Clearly, against, Auburn, we played really good pass defense. And then Missouri, we had, a couple of interceptions there. So I think since we've settled on a structure defensively, I think we've seen the progress necessary to say that we're playing the ball much better in the air and we're making the kind of progress necessary. And we're going to have to be in that realm to continue the kind of success that we want to have. Our safeties are going to have to make plays and our corners are going to have to continue to make plays.
Again, you can see the stress. You can feel the anxiety coming through Brian Kelly as he addresses the room. He opened up yesterday's press conference talking about Zy Alexander and where that transfer cornerback stood right now after leaving the game on Saturday night versus Army.
Yeah, he's going to miss some time. He's got a lower body injury, so he'll miss some time. Mekhi Wingo has got a lower body injury. He's going to miss some time as well. So both those guys will miss some time.
Would you say sometimes that would be out there?
Right now, it's hard to say. Both of them are not practicing. We'll see what happens next week.
All right, so the story there, obviously, is Zy Alexander and Mekhi Wingo. Wingo is, someone who it seemingly has been playing with injury the last couple of weeks. When I heard his name off the practice list, again, I think that is a little stressing. I would expect him to be ready for next week. I don't expect Zy Alexander to go next week. I would
agree.
I mean, I would be shocked if Mekhi Wingo does not go next Saturday night, and they are just taking all of the precautions to make sure that is the plan, right? I mean,
was he in a walking boot or something last week?
I didn't know.
I don't know that.
I think it's a totality of injuries. Like,
I think it's just
strain
accumulation of the season,
where he's been, because you didn't have a Mason Smith. And
he's been banged up.
He's just been grinding. And that's not – I don't think that's really surprising to anybody that Mekhi Wingo would play through it and then get to a point where it's like, Coach, I need a couple – I think I've earned some time off. Like, you don't have to play against the Army, go into the bye week, and then get right for Bama, even if that get right is 80%. Because Mason Taylor's kind of in the same way where you can tell he's not 100%, but he's somebody that is going to play.
He's gutting it out.
Yeah, they're just gutting it out. So those are the type of guys that you want to have on your team, but also you got to recognize and be like, all right, Mekhi Wingo might need some time because he's been doing this since he got to LSU.
Right.
The Zy Alexander thing feels like, we all saw it.
Yeah, that did not look good. And you could tell by the way that Kelly kind of addressed it that it was going to be more time away than being back. The Mekhi Wingo story though would be huge if he was to be out next Saturday night. That would be almost as big of a story as the concern around LSU's DB room. And you heard there with Zy Alexander, looks like he's going to be out. You heard the previous soundbite of Brian Kelly just kind of, addressing the state of the cornerback room. Stewie, one more for you. This is for a couple of guys that, you would expect. This is what they were signed for to be active, but still right now, no sign of them.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I know a lot of people have questions about their status. All I can tell you is that they're on scholarship, they're enrolled in school, but right now they're not participating. They're still in the program, they're still in good standing, but they're not able to play right now. So let's leave it at that. Let's be patient, and we'll see what happens down the road.
So that is Kelly addressing the state of Denver Harris and Deuce Chestnut right now. And look, the way that I understand this is that both are still with the team, and I would expect Harris to be back at practice and in the lineup next week, not only just because it's desperate and a necessity, but, the numbers that you would travel with last week are dangerously thin in the sense of, if you were to lose somebody, you may have to shift somebody from the other side of the ball over. They are in such a bind and such a predicament from the personnel standpoint. And, look, this Deuce Chestnut and Denver Harris situation, they obviously have not been able to align themselves with the protocol of the program. And for whatever reason, it has been very much a roller coaster ride, for both of them, more for Harris. And, Chestnut has just been away from the team for an extended amount, and you're just kind of waiting to hear what the status is going to be. But, from Harris's standpoint, 1 week he's in, 1 week he's out. The next week he plays a series. The next week he doesn't play at all. The next week he's not dressed. The next week he's not practicing. It's been an incredible
Got him in that dime package though.
ride with Harris, and for whatever reason, it seems like it's kind of like what we were talking about with Mekhi Wingo and his physical toll. The toll of Harris is just either minor setbacks or
No pun intended.
Rules that he just can't follow, whatever it is. It has been a sincere struggle for LSU football and Denver Harris to get on the same page. And I don't know what the resolution is at this point, because
But you're running out of time.
LSU, you would seemingly think that they have to have him. And whether he's playing good or bad or inconsistent, it's really not the point right now. It's just more that you need somebody there.
You need bodies.
Right. So,
And that's the same thing with Deuce Chestnut, which I think is more of the shocker. You know what you signed up for with Denver Harris. Like, you could see this was a possible avenue in which the season would go, where it's a constant tug of war between player and team and coach, and just trying to do this is how Brian Kelly coaches. Like, if you're not going to be on the team side of things, or if that's what it is, Brian Kelly has no problem waiting it out. And with Denver, that's kind of what that was a possibility in this scenario. With Deuce Chestnut, I don't know what's going on there. Like, that's not somebody that I thought would have struggled to find playing time, first of all, and then kind of check out a little bit, it seems like, and not be with the team. And you need both. Even as what you saw Deuce, how you saw him play against Florida State, it doesn't matter now. Now you need warm bodies.
Right.
And he's a warm body that's on scholarship.
all right, more from Brian Kelly yesterday. And this is 9, Stewie, and this is the soundbite, and this is the issue. This is the story, I think, that everybody's going to be concerned, watching, paying attention to over the next 10 days is going to be the status of Mekhi Wingo. Look, you're not going to be able to field a defensive backfield that you have any confidence in over the next 10 days. Whether Denver Harris, Deuce Chestnut, J.K. Johnson, and Zy Alexander are all cleared to play, I still don't have the confidence that they are going to be able to go over there and put together any plan on the back end that they're going to make plays, because they hadn't done it all year. So whether it's Sage Ryan, whether it's LaTerrence Welsh, whether it's Javion Taviano,
Patrick Peterson, Corey Webster.
I wish
Right.
I could do a retro draft.
Just need you for one game.
One game. One game. Just give me the 2011 defensive backfield for one game right now at their age.
Know. Who would notice?
Tyron, what is Tyron? 30, 31?
Yeah.
Eric Reed, 31.
Eric Reed's younger brother.
Morris Claiborne, Ron Brooks.
Oh, I'd take Ron today.
I'd take all of them at 30.
You think so, Ron?
I'd take every single one of them at 30 plus in this game.
Would you take Corey Webster?
Oh, are you kidding me?
I mean,
Yes. I'd take Corey Webster and Travis Daniels. I hadn't laid eyes on Travis Daniels since he played with the Chiefs.
But I just got a feeling.
But I'll take him right now, sight unseen.
I'll take Harry
I think he's a
Coleman.
photographer.
ooh, the hitman.
I know he's in shape. I
I'd
saw
take
him
Brandon
last year.
Taylor right now. I know he can play.
Yep. Oh, BT would. He strapped that thing up right now
Oh,
today.
God, he would be the most
You
excited.
said Bama?
I'll drive the bus there.
Sleeps in his helmet.
The 3 strap.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're not. I've got zero confidence of LSU's defensive backfield anything happening that is going to shift the meter. That you're like, okay, all right,
We going there.
Here we go.
Got a little.
Here we go.
something.
Put Malik at
it's-
DB.
You're gonna have a tight stomach the entire night when Milroe's back, because that is. I mean, like as Andy said, that is the one thing he can do. I mean, he can
Throw that deep ball,
he can
coach.
throw it.
That's
I saw him
what's
throw that
crazy.
He can
ball.
throw it,
They're-
man.
they're so-
you might as well drop 14 on the snap.
They're so inconsistent offensively, but the one thing that they do well
It's that
is
deep ball.
LSU's kryptonite. You're going to see somebody running naked behind LSU's defensive backfield, and you're like, well, there's 7,
Well.
there's 14, there's 21, and you're going to have to just hold on for dear life. This is going to be a 8 seconds of hell if you're riding
Yeah.
the bull, where you're just
No
like,
doubt.
oh god.
That's why you gotta have Wingo.
Yeah.
I mean, you've
You
got to have
gotta get
Mason
some pressure.
Taylor. You got to have pressure, man. You've got to get pressure, and I mean, but it still gives you anxiety because he gets out of the pocket, they struggle in tackling. But this
Trust
also does set up. It also does set up, and I've seen this, and I'm sure we all have in competition, where it sets up an opportunity for someone out there to either make a name for yourself, make a play, or shut everybody up. Really. I mean, these moments are what really makes sports great. I mean, these are the moments what make sports what they are,
That's why you play.
right? I mean, like, there is undoubtedly going to be someone we have not talked about in a long time, have not talked about thoroughly, have not talked about consistently, that's going to make a play or either cost LSU in a huge spot that is going to create a moment for that person, maybe even multiple with as many spots as LSU's got on the table. So, I mean, we've talked about LaTerrence Welsh. We've talked about Ashton Stamps. Hell, we've talked about Taviano. We've talked about, I mean,
Kylan Jackson.
He's mentioned Jeremiah Hughes.
Yeah.
Kylan Jackson. At some point next Saturday night, somebody is going to be presented an opportunity that they have not had. And it's either you make it or you don't. You sink or you swim.
Oof.
And we have seen people in these moments be able to catch their footing and make plays. We've also seen people get, exposed and run out. So there is going to be incredible opportunity for someone next Saturday night, maybe multiple people next Saturday night, on a huge stage in a huge game, and a one that can build confidence on. But here is Brian Kelly speaking about Mekhi Wingo and the status of his defensive tackle.
Wingo?
No, not really. I mean, he's been playing, with, a nagging injury, and we just need to get him right. We'll see where it takes him, but he's been playing injured here for the last probably 2-3 weeks, and getting him in a position where he physically can play at the level he needs to is the most important thing.
So when I heard that soundbite that Wingo's been playing hurt, it would lead me to believe that he would play next Saturday night.
Yep.
At whatever his status is.
Had to give him that week off.
As much time as he needs take it, man.
That's 3 weeks.
But come Saturday night next week, he's got to be ready to go. He's got to be ready to go. Same goes for Emory Jones. I mean, really. I mean, when you're talking about, just his status.
Notice he's not even in the injury report no more.
Right.
Yeah. Emory's like, I'm playing against Bama.
One more from Kelly on the DBs here. Stewie, this is 6 of him talking about the youth in that room.
I would say that they're in the mix. Ashton Stamps should be ready to go. LaTerrence Welch.
There he is.
All those guys will be, certainly part of our rotation. We feel like all of them are capable of playing championship football. So it's our job to get them ready. And they're excited. We're excited about working with them, and we expect them to play well for us.
So we'll see, man. Big spot. I mean, if you'd have told a lot of these guys that, a couple of weeks ago, or even someone like Ashton Stamps or Taviano or Hughes, hey, man, next season, if you were, you're talking to them last year in their senior year, fast forward 1 year, you'll be starting against Alabama, or you'll be put into the game against Alabama for LSU. That's a lot of. It's probably a lot of nerves. It's a lot of butterflies that you're probably riding into Tuscaloosa. But one hit, one play, next thing you know, you're in a football game.
You're here.
That's all it is.
Here, coach.
Right? I mean, it's just different colors, a lot more people, a lot more, money on the sidelines. But, I mean, it's just.
Still football.
It's what you signed up for.
If you didn't have Ashton Stamps healthy, where do you turn?
Toviano and
I don't,
Hughes.
I don't know. I mean, I really don't. I don't know what you would do. I mean, without having to shift somebody's position.
Because it's Sage Ryan right now.
What would you do?
On one side, and it was Alexander.
But you've already shifted his position.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then it was Alexander was at least somebody that you penciled in every week at corner.
Like, make no mistake about it. Like, this is the stuff that has to be addressed right now for the next recruiting cycles. Because if you look ahead to LSU's roster, and while it's easy to glorify Emory Jones and Will Campbell and Shelton Sampson and Garrett Nussmeier and guys at DJ Chester that we've seen, young guys that are playing, that Harold Perkins in a third seed. You look at that defensive backfield next year, and it's scary what could be.
Be a lot of freshmen,
and they are not trending in the right direction in overall recruiting. I know that they picked up a commitment last night from from Bernard Causey out of New Orleans, which was a huge flip from Ole Miss, and to pick up a Louisiana DB first and foremost is a huge win for the room. But they have to be able at LSU to be able to throw a net and be able to pull back some high-level defensive backs, and that has just not been the case. I mean, the fact that Wardell Mack will not return a phone call or come on campus is inexplicable and borderline fireable offense. And that's just being honest about the evaluation of the job. And to be completely honest, missing 3 years in a row on the top defensive back in the state, whether it's Jacoby Matthews, Derek Williams, and Wardell Mack, whether it's in a coaching change or not at LSU is inexplicable. It cannot happen. And even more when you have playing time to give. So I am confident, I know, in speaking with some people that are, in these positions, that those wheels are in motion. Those things have to happen. You have to find and people that can be trusted to bring people in and develop them. I mean, that is the name of the game. Everything else is fluff. Everything else is for show. Everything else is for recruiting and for, can you get them here? And then once they get them on campus, can you evaluate where they suit best, where they play best, and then develop that guy? Because, really, when you talk about recruiting, it's not always the guy that has to win in the living room. Dave Aranda didn't win in the living room. Dave Aranda won on campus when you got them here and put them in a film room. And he told you how he was going to use you. And he compared you to what you can look at and the player that has come before you and developed and now in the NFL getting paid. Aranda hates recruiting in all honesty, but he knows he's got to be valuable in that part of the game to be a high-end coach. And the way he is he says, hey, look, Frank Wilson, Corey Raymond, Cortez Hankton, Brad Davis, these guys that can go into the living room and dominate, right? Like, I mean, eat all of the home cooking, make all the relatives smile. Not only do the moms love him, but the uncles want to hang out with him. And the brother-in-laws wanted their number so they can give them the real inside information of what's going on in the home and what's going on with the decision makers. And, hey, man, you might want to let somebody like Dave Aranda get this guy and put him in a film room and you'll really win the recruiting war. Okay, thanks, man. I appreciate that information. And so you bring this 5-star back to a film room and put him into a room that you can say, hey, look, this is what you're going to do. This is how we're going to use you. These are the people that have come before you. This is who we think you comp to. This is all of what we have laid out ready for you. Okay, now I'm coming here because of that guy who you didn't meet in the living room. The brother-in-law doesn't know him. The mom hadn't even really met him yet. But you just talked football with him, and that's why you're going there. Recruiting is this big ecosystem. Not everybody has the same skill set. It's a lot like your business, a lot like your sales team, I'd imagine, where you've got somebody that goes in and kind of breaks down that initial wall. What are your needs? What are your wants? What are your pains? How can we help? Then you come back to a team and you're like, hey, look, this is what they need. Let's disperse this expert. Let's put this person on it. Right? I mean, you've got to be able to recruit to a room. And I'm not throwing shade. I'm not trying to throw any bad feelings at Robert Steeples, but when you look at the defensive back room, there's not a lot of high power guys coming in consistently, and then when they get here, the development's not there. That has to happen at a program like LSU. And whether you can win the living room and bring them back in, you got to bring them back into a DB coach that you can sell, that you can say, hey, look, man, this guy's put X, Y, and Z into the NFL. Or when they got to LSU, they couldn't backpedal and chew gum at the same time. When they left, he was a first-team All-American. I mean, that's what LSU is missing right now at certain spots. And you cannot miss on the top defensive back in Louisiana 3 years in a row if you're LSU. It's off the table. It's a non-negotiable. Like it's a fireable offense. And not just to the DB room. Like, I mean, you've got questions to answer as the DC, as the head coach. I mean, that's a brand at LSU. I mean, like, they sell merchandise with DBU and purple and gold on it. And it's not because of the scheme, and it's not because of what's on the side of the helmet. It's always been because of the players, because of the dudes, because of the guys, because of Curtis Taylor, because of LaRon Landry, because of Jesse Daniels, because of Eric Reed, because of all of them. I mean, you know, we could be here until 10 a.m. But you got to get them. I mean, Derek Williams is not at LSU? How? Jordan Gilbert's not at LSU? How? Wardell Mack is not considering LSU? How? How? They've got the golden ticket to sell. You got playing time. They got to be able to patch that up, man.
Right, and you just see where new head coach, new regime, where the priorities lie, because how often is the LSU offensive line this good or the offense this good? It's just kind of seeing it flipped in a sense. Now, would you want them to marry the two? Absolutely. But what he's done, what the new staff has done well, it's just the second best offense in LSU history, and I never thought I'd see one as good as I saw in 2019. If that doesn't exist, it would be the best LSU offense of all time.
Thanks for tuning in to our premium LSU content right here on YouTube. If you want more of it, subscribe below.